Hey guys, just get back from the Samsung store. They sent me an email to come pick up my trading a day early. This is the unique pistachio color you get only online, supposedly. And I was there super early. I mean, the guy was opening the store. I was like, dude, what are you doing here so early? I was like, I was in the neighborhood. I was not in the neighborhood. Either way, grab my stuff. Time to put it through spaces. Great. This is the Galaxy Fold 8. And the biggest change here isn't the AI or anything internal, quite frankly, it's the size. And long story short, I like this form factor even though the front display does give BlackBerry Passport vibes. Initial indications are showing that more people, about 20% more, maybe even more, are ordering more of the Fold 8 over the taller Ultra model, as they're calling it now. I've always complained about the aspect ratio of the Fold 7 and its predecessors for a host of reasons, starting with the single hand use on the front screen. And like I said in my other video, it is gymnastics, and I have really long fingers, and if it's tough for me, I'm pretty sure it's tough for a lot of people. The Fold 8 fixes that, with a much wider 10x16 cover display, so reaching the top is relatively easy. Unfolded, the 4:3 aspect ratio makes most videos better. Even the letterbox ones, not perfect, but better. And quite frankly, consuming video on the front cover is not bad either. The same applies to reading books. The main screen on the inside gives you that more traditional landscape vibe versus the cover screen, which reminds me of the XTD Ink X4 e-reader. That was pretty handy to use, the one you stick on the back of your phone if you can. So that gives me that sensation when I use the cover to read ebooks. Two-thumb typing here, of course, is way better because the screen is wider. Your thumbs aren't fighting each other for space. Fine, maybe I am being a bit biased because I did like the original Google Passport shape, and this is bringing back those memories. My old Google Passport, remember the first one? Others complained theirs didn't fold flat. Mine did, so I didn't really have any problem with that phone. But the same aspect ratio I love so much might be the root of some of its problems. Some apps still act weird, like Instagram, for example, sometimes jumps around when you try to tap into an app. Take this one, for example. When you look at the post, it looks great. Takes out the whole screen, looks fantastic, fills it out, easy to read. But if you try tapping into a post, see the sidebars? It doesn't know what to do anymore. So you're getting less than you would on a standard bar phone. And this is the same problem you will have on the inside. It's even worse. Yes, you can fix some of these problems by tapping into the app settings, going to aspect ratio adjustment, and forcing it to fit the full screen. But that's not perfect for all apps. Even Instagram still buckles every now and then. Hopefully they will fix it in the short term with a software update, but don't hold your breath. And some other apps will typically be crushed. Unlike a typical bar phone where you can see the entire image of some displays, because of the size here, you may have to scroll up just a tad to get the full information. Since I'm off to a good start with complaining about stuff I don't like, here's some more. Wireless charging on anything vertical, even at an angle, is basically impossible because there are no internal magnets for MagSafe. But the official Samsung cases you get do have MagSafe built in. This is the one that came in my bundle. It protects the back, but it tries to save your aesthetics by leaving the front as is. So you still get this front unprotected, but unprotected is not the key here, because if you drop it, you're still going to damage this edge. So if you want something else, I suppose you find something that covers the front and the back, but chances are you will be sacrificing some of that smooth aesthetics of it being slim on the outside. So depending on the type of case you get, cases solve a host of problems for this device, like the Spigen Slim Armor and a screen guard. This is not sponsored. This is just a brand I use amongst others. D-Brand also makes some cool grip cases. You might want to check them out as well. Of course, there's the protection issue. This thing is only IP48, so not a lot of dust resistance or things going into that crack. Secondly, it does solve your MagSafe issue if you get one that does have MagSafe built in. It also solves your stand-up issue. Okay, that sounds weird the way I put it. What I'm trying to say is the phone without any attachments cannot stand on its own once you unfold it into its full glory. You need some kind of attachment like this one here to keep it upright when you're watching in full screen. And if you're lucky, also solves the ridiculous wobble problem. At this point, you're thinking, is there anything more you need to whine about? Yes, absolutely. The camera hole. It seems way more obvious to me now because of the shorter screen. I might have been better off to one side, maybe if they did that, or hit it like they did in the previous generations. I don't know, but now it's just in my face. I know this is a personal quirk, but I might not be alone on this hill. I'll be waiting in the comments. What else? They chopped off the telephoto camera, leaving you with a 50 megapixel main and ultra wide. No dedicated telephoto lens because they want to leave that on the taller brother, and that becomes the ultra phone. Not much of an ultra phone in my opinion, but that's a different video to discuss. So if telephoto zooming is your vibe, but you like this form factor, you might have to decide if you're going for the ultra or just skip this one. Personally, I don't miss it that much because I rarely use the telephoto on my Fold 7 anyway, but that's just me. So chopping off the extra height, taking off the camera, you end up with a phone that's lighter at about 201 grams, but also a wider phone that still seems to fit in your pocket. Inside, you'll find Samsung's custom Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy, and everything is performing as expected. Gaming, photo editing, Samsung DeX, having 3 or more apps running simultaneously, etc. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Of course, we can't get through this review without mentioning the 2 big letters, AI, which is going to be thrown around for the next couple of years. Here, the updated thing is called Now Nudge. Well, it's always been there, but the Now Nudge is updated. What it does, it quietly recommends actions based on what you're actually doing. So it's spying on you, it's taking a look while you're doing it. And it is not my favorite feature, to be honest. I like to be deliberate in my actions, but this feels like something sitting on my shoulder, just pushing me to do stuff I don't want to do. I'm searching for a restaurant on my phone. Navigation appears, says, hey, here's how you get there. Dude, I was just lucky. I'm viewing an event and it offers to add it to my calendar. I'm like, dude, I was just looking. I am reading an email. Relevant actions appear on the side, automatically saying, hey, do you want to respond with blah, blah, blah? Dude, I was gonna ghost that guy. I don't want to respond. Okay, fine. It is subtle, and I'm sure it's useful for some people out there, but again, not my thing. Battery life is solid, actually good. It is smaller at 4,800 milliamp hours. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. with less than 90%, used navigation a few times, watched 3 episodes of JJK, and a ton of YouTube videos on my commute. I took a couple of shots, videos, and all the other usual stuff. And at the end of the day, at about 9 p.m., give or take, I had about 32% left in the tank, which was a bit shocking. I guess it kind of makes sense when you consider that the new chip has a 35% power efficiency improvement, and it is silicon carbon battery, which again, it's a big contributor to power management. So, question of the year. Should you buy this over the Ultra version, which is the taller brother with the bigger battery and a telephoto lens? Or is the real question, should you look past the form factor and just go buy the S26 Ultra, which is without a doubt the better phone in terms of performance, camera, S Pen support, faster battery charging, the list goes on. The answer is, if you're into the Fold form factor, in my opinion, this is the better Fold form factor. If you are stuck with you'd really need that telephoto, you may be better off going for the big brother, especially if you still want a folding phone. For me, I prefer this form factor, but let me know in the comments below. Do you guys think they should have kept it taller and just made the front screen wider? And let's see what Apple comes up with. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like and help a brother out with a subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.